Hello, everybody. This is Steve Fletcher with a trumpet for my people. I'm here with my brother Ken Potter. We're really looking forward to sharing with you today. And Ken contacted me earlier today. He has some information he wanted to just talk about, and I'm really excited to hear what he has to say. He sent me a graph, and I was trying to get my arms around it, and I'm just going to let him explain it. So we're going to talk about some things he's going to share from his screen, and then I'm going to share some things from my screen. How you doing today, Ken?
I'm good, Steve. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks a lot for inviting me. And thank you also to Repo Man 64. What happened, how this started was Repo Man just contacted me yesterday, actually, and he said, man, you really need to look at this January 11th thing that Steve Fletcher's talking about and do a similar analysis like I had done actually back in 2021 and then 2022. So what happened there, and I'm going to try to go ahead and share, is I'll go to the 2022 one. It was about a year. It was 2 years ago this month. I put a video out that where I had looked into these eclipses, and I was studying the timing of them and noticed a pattern of symmetry. And in those videos, I also talked about how there's a lot to be said for how God works with symmetrical patterns, etc. And it seemed pretty striking that there was so much symmetry around this eclipse that happened on May 16th, 2022. But of course, that day came and went. So, and that's kind of the basis for Reba Man contacting me. And then when he told me about January 11th. So I looked into January 11th, and there's no eclipse on January 11th, but I found it interesting that there is, I'll show this, there is, the new moon is actually, if you look at this website, it talks about how the new moon is what they call the biggest miss. And I never knew what that really meant. So looking into that, what they mean here is the moon pretty much oscillates on its angle versus the angle of the sun, up and down. And when it happens to be right on zero, right on that same line, during the new moon, that's when we get a solar eclipse. But now what we have is it's actually it's the complete maximum away from that on the way down on January 11th. And it turns out this new moon also occurs just right about noon GMT or UTC, which means that it happens right when there's like maximum amount of daytime through the world. Now, that maybe not be that big of a deal. However, what I did is I plugged in your, let's see, I'm going to stop the share. I plugged in that January 11 number into the spreadsheet that I used to formulate that original study. And I'm just going to show that here. And this really made my jaw drop. And for those who don't know me, I definitely lean towards the more skeptical. I kind of throw out a lot of people will share things, and I'll say, yeah, thank you. But then I figure it's a nothing burger. I've gotten pretty skeptical on a lot of this stuff. But this I found particularly beyond coincidence. And that's, I inserted this date, this January 11th here in my spreadsheet, and it has to go in here and then also in here, because what the spreadsheet does is it calculates the number of lunar cycles, right, which is a month. It's like 29.5 something days. The formula's in here. 29.527 days is the average. And so it calculates that number of moon cycles between these eclipses or these dates. And then I look at how many of them are before and after the same. So in this column here, everything that's yellow and bold are the ones that have perfect symmetry. And it's way more than anything else I had found. So that made my jaw drop. I thought, the hell is this? This is huge. I mean, this just. I mean, we recognize that the way that the the eclipses work are such that you're going to have repeating patterns. That's going to happen. I get that, but that just seemed uncanny. It seemed beyond coincidence to me. So this January 11th new moon, I think it definitely looks like, and I've thrown a lot of would-be high watch dates out lately. Don't like false hope, but this one looks pretty big to me. So, wow, Steve, this is great.
Okay.
Not to mention the other stuff you're going to talk about that you showed today, I also think is huge. Particularly, you talked about the 2,300 days. I'll let you talk about that because the Revelation 12 sign also from 2017, I'm going back to leaning more and more and more as being a very, very huge, real thing. So.
Well, amen. Thanks for contacting me and for sharing this information with us. Okay, now I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to share information with you that I've been talking about and that was sent to me. Okay, someone told me that, just to clarify this again, because I'm not trying to plagiarize anything, right? I want to, give credit anywhere there's credit due. Someone told me that Exalted Lamb shared some of this information. There's a few other channels talking about January 11th, but once we saw this a little bit, and I shared some stuff with Daniel, he saw what I was sharing. He went deeper and like huge confirmations within what we're watching. And so we started out with the lunar tetrads from 2003 and 2004, going to the lunar tetrads of 2014, 2015. Then there's a lunar tetrad in 2032 and 2033. And then in 2043 and 2044, another lunar tetrad. So we've got 16 blood moons, especially the big ones from 2014 and 2015 that everybody was watching. These are all symmetrically lined up with January 11th, 2024. Then he went and did all eclipses from 2017, starting with the Great American Eclipse. Every solar eclipse has a match to January 11th, 2024, and it has its match on the other side. Like, for example, this one on October 14th, which was we were calling the birth eclipse because it came across Corpus Christi and then went across right where I am, perfectly over where I am in Yucatan, Mexico, went across the birth canal of Panama. Then it came out of Natal, Brazil, which means the birth. Okay? That eclipse, and I mean, it was so huge from Portland all the way down through Mexico, South America. I mean, that was crossed all of North America and South America. Then January 11th is the middle day, and it goes forth until the next Great American Eclipse of... So the last two American eclipses are connected to January 11th.
It's so huge.
Yeah.
This is a big deal. I mean, Isaac Newton, who was a mega genius and a Christian, he studied eschatology, he studied Revelation and Daniel. He said that the solar system, he believed that the solar system was God's cryptogram. In other words, it's like God's extremely elaborate clock. And what this is telling us is that this clock is running in such a way that there's this laser middle time between all these events that sits right there on January 11, 2024. I mean, I'm not guaranteeing things anything happens then, but I mean, it could just be the beginning of the end of the end of the end. I don't know, but it's definitely huge.
Right,
and I don't take that lightly too. And I'm not the kind of guy that thinks everything is a big deal. Again, I'm just saying that to give it this credence. This passes every smell test that I can think of. This is huge.
Now, earlier today, I said, okay, I did a video earlier today. I had some new information I shared. And we could possibly go over that right now, but what I said in the video is that I'm going to be bringing some new information beyond what Ken is going to share. Daniel has found some new information, and this is going to be the most astronomically, this is going to be the biggest find that I think I've ever seen, and I don't know, a lot of people are going to say this is just unbelievable, incomparable. I don't know how to explain it with words, but Daniel finished this graph, okay? And what he did is he went back. We're talking about eclipses from 2003 to 2044. He went back to the blood moon tetrad of 1948. Or I think it was 1949 and 1950.
Right. So let me just interject. That means this can't be something that's just going to keep repeating over and over every so often, because those tetrads there's huge time frames where they just don't happen.
Okay.
Right. There was like one when the Christopher Columbus sailed, apparently, right, and then there was one during '67. I think this 1967 war. So they're not frequent.
So
Yeah.
here is.
Yeah. There you go.
Here's the graph. Okay. I got Ken and I really small up in the corner. Hope you can see us. But the point of this is, look at this. Everything has a match to January 11th, 2024. Now we're going back. The beginning of this graph here is the blood moon tetrad after the rebirth of Israel, 1949 and 1950. We got 4 blood moons here. Okay? And they all have a perfect match in 2097 and 2098 by exact number of days: 27,301, 27,125, 26,947, and 26,770 days.
That could be the time that Satan is released for a little while at the end of the millennium. That just occurred to me.
Well, that would be 1,000 years later.
Well, 1,000 years since the start of the millennium. I'm saying you're getting like 2098, for instance, right?
Well, that's only like 70 years. We're still a ways from the millennium. You know what I mean? That would be like, we're like 2023. We're looking at 3023. That'd be like another.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, yeah, I guess you're right.
And so then we go, okay, then you go to the blood moons of the rebirth of Israel. This was from the rebirth of Israel, and then this was from the recapturing of Jerusalem, the 6-day war. There was another blood moon tetrad, 1967, 1968. This all has a match to January 11th, 2024. Then we've got blood moon tetrad of 1985 and 1986. Okay? Back then, I don't think anybody was even watching blood moon tetrads or as a sign in the heavens. I don't think this really became an item until 2014, 2015, the 4 blood moons, Mark Biltz, John Hagee, right?
Yep.
But these things that were happening, they happened with the rebirth of Israel. They happened in 1967. Another one in 1985, 1986. That's lined up. And then we have the one in 2003 and 2004, and the one in 2014, the one in 2015. And then beyond that, there's these eclipses that have happened recently. From 2018, there were 2, 2019, 2021, 2022, 2022, all of these. How many are there here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. Just on this graph, and that's the half side. So we got 52 eclipses that are all lined up going from 1949 to 2098, all linked as January 11th.
These are just the lunar eclipses, right?
These are just the
lunar.
lunar.
Show the solar.
And okay, and I was working on, and I didn't know where to go. As soon as Daniel said he's going to be working on something, I didn't continue. But I was working on this, and I wanted to see, and I went back to the lunar eclipse of January 31st, 1999. And I started going by number of days, and I found a website where you can put in 2 dates and it gives you the middle day. And so it made it a lot easier. And I found the eclipse schedule from 1999 to 2048, and I'm going down this way and I'm going up this way, right? You're going down on one side and up on the other side, and you're getting closer to the middle each time. And so all of the eclipses from 1999 is where I started, match to December 20th of 2048. February 16th, 1999 matches to December 5th, 2048. One is lunar, one is solar. And you go through them all, lunar, solar, lunar, solar, solar, lunar, solar, solar, lunar. And all of the eclipses from 1999 through 2001 all matched. Okay? So do I need, I mean, we've got this information from Daniel. I mean, do we need to? Is there any validity to going and trying to find every single eclipse? I mean, is this the pattern we've been waiting for? You know, I mean, is this the code of the blood moon tetrads? It's got to be leading somewhere. It's got to be leading us to something, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's some type of a code. There's some type of a key. You know, it's like the key of David and the seal of Zerubbabel. I mean, when are we going to find it? Is this part of it, or is this it? I mean, I don't know.
It's definitely something big. I mean, we can't say for sure, but I can say, I feel confident saying that this is beyond coincidence. So like you said, Isaac Newton looked at the solar system as being God's cryptogram clock. This would definitely be pointing to something very much in the middle of the patterns. Right in the middle.
Another thing that I didn't share earlier in my video earlier today, all my videos are real quick, so the video I did earlier today with some new information was only like 11 minutes long. But somebody sent me, they said, hey, from your sign, because we're watching January 11th, right? January 11th is 111. On the Hebrew calendar, it's 1 Shavat, which is also 111. Okay? And from the day of my sign on December 12th, 2012, it's 11 years and 1 month. Exactly. Inclusive.
What is it again on the Hebrew calendar, Steve?
1 Shavat. It's the first day of the 11th month.
Okay, right.
Now, what I did share in my other, and let's talk about this. Let me see what you have to say about this, Ken. Okay. Shavat is known as the month of Tu B'Shavat, the new year for the trees. That's why, I had shared this information that according to Rabbi Judah, Tevet 29 marks the end of winter. Mm-hmm. Why? Why is that? Well, it has to do with the new year of the trees. and it's like the beginning of spring for Israel. So according to Rabbi Judah, Tevet 29 marks the end of winter. Well, then we've got this information that says Shavat is well known as the month of Tu B'Shavat, the New Year's for trees. But according to the Mishnah, there's an opinion that the New Year should be celebrated on the 1st and not on the 15th.
Interesting. And remember the other, I don't have it in front of me. There was the rabbi that had the prophecy about the two Benjamins. And then he said on Rosh Hashanah itself, and Rosh Hashanah isn't necessarily Yom Teruah, which is Feast of Trumpets. Rosh Hashanah is head of the year.
A new year, one of the New Years.
So if he's saying Rosh Hashanah itself, perhaps that's code for the real New Year that we're not really recognizing so much.
And
thinking out loud here.
Okay, and Ken, all of this connects to Yitzhak Keduri,
right?
Who died. Okay, listen, because there's a little bit of let's go into this a little deeper. Yitzhak Keduri on the Gregorian calendar died on January 28th, but this is the Jewish calendar for 29 Tevet. Yitzhak Keduri died on 29 Tevet.
So, okay.
Okay.
And then, so what? So 20. Then what day would that?
Well, 29 Tevet, January 10th, on the Torah calendars, January 11th, and the whole prophecy is connected to the coming of the Messiah with the death of Ariel Sharon, and Ariel Sharon died on January 11th.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, this is beyond coincidence. This is not a nothing burger. This is big. He died in 2014, just exactly 10 years ago.
I mean, this is why, the last 3 years I've been watching this time frame, but there's nothing like what we've seen now. And then now we've got the Yitzhak Keduri anniversary on 29 Tevet is January 11th, and Sharon died January 11th, and Yitzhak Keduri's note was opened a year after he died on the same day, which would also be 29 Tevet.
Yep.
Okay. So we're talking 29 Tevet, the end of the year, the end of winter, the beginning of spring, the true New Year maybe, at the turn of the year on the Rosh Hashanah, that's the Shoshani prophecy about the two Benjamins.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Shoshani gave the prophecy about the two Benjamins. And all of that, all of that connected to 2,300 days from the Revelation 12 sign. Okay. Connected to 1,335 days from Operation Warp Speed, which was not only any day, it was actually on the birthday of Israel, May 15th, 2020. That should be a signal to anybody. Something's happening here on the birthday of Israel. Okay. Yeah. So
right, 13. And also in that logo, it looks like three horns, and then another little horn sprouting out.
Well, yeah, and then you just take off the P's, and it's Operation War Seed.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot in that.
So, and then we have, from there, it's 1,260 days was the blood moon of October 27th and 28th. And Israel started their ground invasion on the day of the blood moon of this partial eclipse was the day of the Israel invasion. So this was 1,260 days after Warp Speed. 75 days later then is January 10th and January 11th. So we've got the 2,300 days, we've got the 1,260 days, we've got the 1,335 days. Connected to Keduri, Sharon, and all of this. I shared this earlier, that Obama said goodbye on January 10th. He had his farewell speech. And this, to me, is like a mockery of Jesus who is and who was and is to come. Mm-hmm. Because Obama said, yes, we can. Yes, we did. Yes, we can. Him who is, him who was, and him who will be. Like a mockery of the true Messiah about his coming back, maybe 7 years to the day from his farewell speech.
Yeah.
And the first death of COVID, January 11th, 2020, 4 years of the fig tree, right to the new year of the trees, from the first death of the COVID virus. So this what we got here from Daniel is, does this seal the deal, Ken? What do you think?
It's. I
Come
mean,
on, give me your verdict.
I'm not going to set a rapture date based on it, but I would say that it's definitely huge. It's the huge watch date. I mean, I said here's my metaphor for the kind of watchman that I see myself as when I am doing such. I think of like a guy who fishes off the dock, and whatever he catches, he throws back, and he lets somebody else clean it. I'm kind of like that, right? You find something, hey, this is huge. I don't know what it is yet, but here I'm sharing this. What do you think? And this is something big. This is not just a boot. This is a big sea monster. In that metaphor analogy. So I think 2024 is looking absolutely gigantinormous. I think the Revelation 12 sign is huge, big time. And then the seventh year anniversary of that is huge. Doesn't mean that we necessarily have to wait until
April?
trumpets again.
Or
I don't know.
April. We got the April eclipse coming too.
And that's, oh yeah, of course. And then the Great American Eclipse that happened just a month before the Revelation 12 sign. And then this one here on April 8th, that makes that X.
Anything new that you're seeing beyond this? It's kind of connecting to where we are now. What are the other things you've been watching lately?
Well, one of the things, I said this before, but I'm really, now that we're coming up on the 7th year anniversary of the Revelation 12 sign, I'm believing there's a lot to that, still being legit. And if I could share one thing. Yeah, so here, this is from the Illuminati card game. And to me, this card looks an awful lot like the Revelation 12 sign. Remember, the Revelation 12 sign was a woman giving birth. And this is saying that the stars are right. So I think this is them telling us that they know that there's something to that. Is this the Revelation 12 sign? It looks like a kind of a satanic mockery of it. But I would say that this is saying that they know that it's legit. Keep in mind, this card game also has a card about the rapture. There it is. Tape runs out, right? So when the rapture comes, I'll make them wait. Supposedly, I think that maybe that's Satan talking. They'll never clean my cage. Give me some more of. Tape runs out. Good try. Too bad something went wrong. So they know there's a rapture, and it looks like they also know the Revelation 12 sign means something. So that to me is, well, that's interesting. So I think this year is shaping up.
Do you know who controls?
All the time.
Do you know who controls the United States debt clock?
No.
Or how, like, you saw that there was a secret window there and the Revelation 12 sign came up on that? On the USA debt clock?
I don't think so.
A few days ago. It was only up for like a day.
Okay.
But I was just kind of wondering who controls that and how that ended up. It came up, but the Revelation 12 sign came up. Is the secret window, the USA debt clock, and it
Really?
came up just as the USA debt clock was hitting 34 trillion. So it was like going from 33 to 34, And that was
Yeah.
the secret window. The Revelation 12 sign came up. Like the time runs out type deal.
Huh. Yeah. Wow. That's interesting. Yeah, I'd like to see that. I got to look that up. That looks very cool.
Yeah, a number of people shared about that, and so I don't know. So okay, well, anything else that you've been seeing or wanted to say about what you shared with me? And
I have no, just great work, Steve. I mean, this is big. I mean, there have been a lot of things that just I don't I hate to be the skeptic in the room, but I often find myself being that guy. But in this case, I just really wanted to say, hey, this is big. This looks really, really big. This is totally beyond coincidence. All those everything pointing to Jan 11 on the eclipses is huge. The prophecies of the rabbis, Kaduri's prophecy, huge. Awful lot pointing to here and now, and here we are. So, could be. I mean,
Okay.
this could be it. So
all right,
keep
well,
praying up.
we want to get this out as quick as we can here because we're already January 8th, and we only got 3 days to go. We don't know what's going to happen on January 11th. If January 11th is the time, we want to be ready, and we want everybody to be ready. And so we know that we've had warnings after warnings for years now. At some point, the final warning is going to come. It's going to be the end, and we don't know when that is. But if it is January 11th, I think that God is trying to say something, and be ready. It's going to happen quick, and there's not going to be any time to look back and say, oops, I should have, like they said on The Simpsons, why didn't I listen to my dad? Why didn't I listen to my dad? I was left below, from The Simpsons. So, we got to be ready now, and that's what we're doing. So thanks, Ken, for coming on. Thanks for sharing with us.
Well, thank you for having me, Steve. It's an honor. You're doing a great work. It's an honor and a privilege to be your friend, and I'm always here for you. And I know you are likewise. And we're sticking it out in these last days, and we know that day's coming. And after it happens, it's going to seem like it went fast. Now it feels like it's dragging on forever, but it will happen.
All right. Well, God bless you, and God bless everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you on our next video. God bless.